My name is Thomas Keller. I'm a social worker, or at least I was at the time this happened. This story takes place on Christmas night, 2019, in a small town in upstate New York. I didn't go looking for anything supernatural. I went because I felt guilty. The place was called St. Mary's Children's Home. It had been shut down for almost 15 years after allegations of neglect and abuse. Officially, the children were relocated. Unofficially, no one ever talked about where they went. The building still stood on the edge of town. 3 floors, red brick, broken windows boarded with wood that had long since rotted. Every December, locals left gifts outside the front gate. Toys, stuffed animals, small wrapped boxes labeled for the kids. Even though everyone knew there were no kids anymore. That Christmas, a local charity asked if I'd help collect the gifts and store them properly. Just one night. I agreed. I arrived just after 9:30 p.m. Snow covered the ground. The orphanage looked darker than the sky behind it, like a hole cut into the night. The front door wasn't locked. That should have been my first warning. Inside, the air smelled stale. Dust, old paper, something faintly sour. My flashlight beam caught peeling paint and children's drawings still taped to the walls, stick figures holding hands, crayon suns, words like family and home. I told myself I'd be in and out within an hour. I started in the dining hall, stacking gifts near the old serving counter. That's when I heard it. Silverware. A fork scraping lightly against a plate. It came from the kitchen. I called out, thinking maybe someone else had shown up. Hello? No answer. But the sound continued, slow, deliberate. I stepped into the kitchen. The room was empty. Long tables, rusted sinks, shelves lined with dusty cups, but one plate sat on the center table, clean and warm. I felt it with my hand. I moved faster after that. Too fast. I wanted to leave. As I climbed the stairs to the second floor, I heard footsteps above me. Small ones, running, then laughter. Children's laughter. I froze. The sound echoed down the stairwell, bouncing off the walls like it was circling me. Then silence, followed by a whisper behind my ear. Greater than, "It's Christmas." I spun around. Nothing. The second floor dormitory was worse. Rows of small beds lined the room, blankets neatly folded like someone had just made them. At the foot of each bed sat a gift, all of them unwrapped, every box empty, except the last one. I don't know why I opened it. Inside was a folded piece of paper, a drawing. It showed a group of children standing in a circle. In the middle was a tall black shape with no face. Above it, written in shaky handwriting, "He comes when we're good." The lights flickered, then went out completely. In the darkness, I heard chairs scraping the floor, plates being set, dozens of them. A voice, low, calm, not a child's, spoke from somewhere nearby. They waited so long. My flashlight turned on by itself. The beam landed on the dining hall below. The tables were full. Children sat in every seat, perfectly still. Their heads were bowed. At the head of the table stood the tall black figure from the drawing. It wore something like a coat or a robe. It turned its head toward me, slowly. "We saved you a seat." Every child lifted their head at once. Their eyes were hollow, empty, black. I don't remember going down the stairs. I don't remember reaching the door. I only remember the sound behind me. Clapping, polite, measured, like someone applauding a performance. The front door slammed shut behind me. I didn't look back. The next morning, The town found the orphanage gate covered in gifts, all unwrapped, all empty, except one. A small box labeled with my name. Inside was a note, written in crayon. Thank you for Christmas dinner. Please come back next year. The orphanage burned down 3 weeks later, cause unknown. But every Christmas Eve, people say they smell food cooking where it used to stand. And sometimes they hear children laughing. My name is Michael Reed. I'm not sharing this story for attention or entertainment. I'm sharing it because what happened on Christmas Eve 2016 still doesn't make sense. And maybe it never will. At the time, I was working as a night security guard at a place called Evergreen Playthings, a toy factory located just outside a small town in northern Pennsylvania. Evergreen wasn't a big-name company. They specialized in traditional toys, wooden trains, porcelain dolls, hand-painted music boxes, the kind of toys parents said were made with love. The factory had been around since the 1950s, and most of the building still looked like it belonged to that era. Long hallways, yellow lighting, old machinery that groaned even when it was turned off. Normally, I worked weekday night shifts, but that year, my supervisor asked if I could cover Christmas Eve night. He said it would be easy money. Plants shut down, he told me. No staff, no production. Just lock the doors and keep an eye on things. I didn't have plans anyway, so I said yes. Christmas Eve, 10:47 p.m. I arrived early. Snow was falling hard, thick enough that the factory lights looked blurry from the parking lot. Inside, everything was quiet. Too quiet. The production floor was massive. Rows of conveyor belts, assembly tables, shelves stacked with unfinished toys wrapped in plastic. The air smelled like wood dust and old oil. I did my first patrol. Checked doors, checked emergency exits. Everything was locked. At midnight, I sat in the security office watching the camera feeds. 12 monitors, every hallway, every room, nothing moved. At 12:36 a.m. I heard the sound. A bell, not an alarm, a bell. Soft, metallic, slow. I froze. The sound didn't come from the office, it came from somewhere deep inside the factory. I told myself it was metal contracting from the cold. Old buildings made noise all the time. Still, I logged the time. The machines turned on. At 1:12 a.m. the lights flickered. Then one of the monitors went black, then another. Then, on camera 7, I saw movement, a conveyor belt. It was running. That wasn't possible. The factory had been shut down for weeks for the holidays. Power to the machines was cut manually. I'd watched them shut it down myself. I grabbed my flashlight and radio. "Hello?" I said, even though no one should have been there. No response. As I stepped onto the production floor, I heard it clearly now. Machinery, grinding, clicking, whirring, the same sounds you'd hear during a normal workday. Except there were no workers. The conveyor belt was moving slowly. On it were unfinished dolls. Porcelain faces, glass eyes, no clothes. As I watched, one of the dolls turned its head, just slightly. I dropped my flashlight. I know what you're thinking. Fatigue, stress, imagination. That's what I told myself too. But then I heard laughter. Children's laughter. Echoing from the far end of the factory, there was an older wing of the building, closed off after an accident in the 90s. A worker had been crushed by a press machine during a night shift. That's where the sound was coming from. I didn't want to go there, but my radio crackled. Not static. Breathing slow. Controlled, right in my ear. Then a voice whispered, "Christmas orders must be finished." I ran. I locked myself in the security office until morning. Didn't sleep, didn't move. At 6 a.m., my replacement arrived. I didn't say a word, I just left. A week later, curiosity got the better of me. I asked to review the footage from that night. The supervisor looked uncomfortable, but agreed. From midnight until 6 a.m., the cameras showed something impossible. The factory floor was full, not of people, of movement. Toys assembling themselves, machines running with no operators, dolls lining up neatly on shelves, and at exactly 3 a.m., every camera turned toward the security office, toward me. Evergreen Playthings shut down permanently 3 months later. Official reason: electrical issues. Unofficially, 5 night guards quit within a year. 1 disappeared. Every Christmas Eve since then, I hear bells in my dreams. Soft, metallic. And sometimes, when I wake up, I swear I smell wood dust and oil. I don't celebrate Christmas anymore. Some factories never stop working.